I'm also, it seems to me one of the big trends is around this technology piece. And there's a couple questions already around, how do you make sure you've chosen the right technology, particularly if you're partnering outside the company? How do you know that's the right fit, whether that's a new chatbot function or a new AI piece to add in? So again, thoughts, maybe we'll start with you on.
Yeah, so I think we're all going through and trying to figure out which technology solutions are real or not real, right? We spend a lot of time evaluating partners and making sure that it's going to add value. I think in all the analytics and all these different things, you have to ask the right questions beforehand. It's not just about, implementing a new app. We looked at our onboarding process, for example, and we spent 9 months using design thinking to redesign that user experience before coming up with the technology solution we ultimately chose to be able to deliver. I think whenever you're looking at any technology solution, you have to make sure it's real, first of all, because vendors are often extremely optimistic and aspirational about the capabilities they have. So you have to really, I have to say, I've partnered with a lot of vendors to create products when they said they were already done. And so you get halfway through and you realize you're actually creating the solution with them hand in hand. And so, make sure it's not vaporware, but it's a real thing. But then also make sure it's going to make a difference for you. I think we're going to see a lot of what I call fast fails, where people are going to put things in place and maybe they're not necessarily really a worthwhile solution. Or sometimes, I see some of the data, analytics things give you what I call searing insights into the obvious, right? They're really not helping the business. So I think we'll get smarter over time. And you don't always have to be the first mover. You can be a fast follower. Talk to other HR leaders who've actually put things in that have been successful and learn from what they've done and figure out what makes sense for your company. I think that's really important because a solution that works in one company may not work in another company. We saw this a lot with people changing ratings. Everybody likes to run to whatever the fashion is, and then some companies had to put ratings back in because it didn't work in their environment. So I think it's great. I'm big on lessons learned from other people and sharing them myself with them, but making sure you're really assessing that this thing's going to add value to your business, it really is a real solution, and that it fits with your organization is really important.
That's great, and dovetails really well. So the CARS research assistants last year spent a whole year looking at this topic of technology, and some of the key things we pulled out of that is one, what we tended to see as companies introducing technology to a piece of a process.
Right.
So some of the classic examples were around the really attracting talent and using chatbots up front to attract talent into the organization and really helping people navigate into finding jobs that are right fit. It often then got turned over to a recruiter who then started the whole process all over. And it became more of a frustration to external applicants than it became a value add. So really that idea of thinking through what's the whole process, what's the design thinking around the full experience, and then figuring out what are the technology solutions that fit in. The other part was really this that you mentioned is this idea of beta testing or failing fast and testing out small versions in really small pilots to get a feel of can this work, does it work before it flops in a big way, and really then being able to either retrofit it, choose a better option, and really that notion of testing and experimenting in small ways and having that beta version that can fail and fail fast, probably a great idea.
Yeah.